One thing about a woman is that when her passion is ignited, she takes her course and runs along with it. She tells other women about it and she recruits others to help her go on with her mission in life. We are here today on the set with Dr. Mrs. Oluwafunmilayo Inyuade. Our passion in the society is to mold children, mold the family, mold the society, and in turn, mold ourselves along the line. Welcome to Women and the Society. My name is Charity James. Welcome to the program, Dr. Mrs. Man.
Thank you, ma'am.
From your profile, you can see that you're a teacher, a lecturer, and you started from the basis, that is NCE. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
My name is Olufunmilayo Inyuade, born and bred in Abeokuta, but my origin is from Ileworile. I was born in Abeokuta 50 years ago to the family of late Chief Israel Popola Olayode Babatunde and Madam Janet Anike Babatunde. I was born into the family of 5. Myself, my other 2 siblings, and my parents. My mother was a trader, while my father worked with so many organizations. He was a produce buyer then. Later, he came back to Abeokuta to join Ogun State Housing Corporation in 1976 when the state was created. I went to Trinity Nursery and Primary School, Ijayo Jaro. That was where I started my elementary schooling. Later, I was registered to the public school, St. Andrew's Anglican Primary School, Ibara. I later went to Egbo-Odeda High School in the 80s, where I obtained my O-level. I proceeded to Ogun State College of Education then, now Taisho College of Education, Omu. After the completion of the NCE program, I registered I gained admission to Ogun State University then, now Olabisi Onabanjo University, where I did my first degree in G&C. The teaching subject was CRS, while the professional subject was guidance and counseling. I did that one between 1995 down 98. Then after the completion, instead for me to go for NYSC because of the age, I needed to abandon that one. I just took certificate of exemption. Then that very year, 1999, I started my master program in that same university, Ogun State University 10. After the completion of that master's in education, my special area was social study education. After the completion, I was given a direct employment by late Professor Oyineye,
okay,
the then Vice Chancellor of the university. That was 1999. And I started the career. That was the first appointment and first teaching appointment that I had in my life. And ever since then, I've been there as a junior lecturer from that 1999 down date. Today, I am a senior lecturer in the Department of Arts and Social Sciences Education, Faculty of Education, Olabisi Onabanjo University.
Your profile also reads that your master's was in social studies education and your PhD adult education, and you based your search on bias technical capacity building. In our climb, they know that some women do not go past the first degree. What pushed you to go past it, and you are even a doctor with us?
People do say it's a slogan. Behind a successful man, they will tell you that there is a woman. I will tell you, behind my own success is my husband. I married with NC, but because of the nature of the man, he has a nature that each and every individual under the planet of Earth should be given opportunities. So he has the one that brought in that opportunity to my life. He allowed me, though it was tedious, it wasn't an easy exercise, because when you are rearing children and at the same time you are schooling and you happen to be a pastor's wife, it is an huge assignment on that person. But to God be the glory, he supported me with all he has. Even till this morning, he has still supporting me. So if you have somebody supporting your passion, if you have somebody supporting your mission, if you have a statement and you don't have anybody to acclimatize it, at least to put it in the daylight, nobody will see you. But he is a man that will never allow anybody, I said anybody that comes his way, to put in a shallow. He will allow you to see the light of the day. So that was the opportunity he gave to me from that NC level to first degree. He was the one that obtained JAMB form for me while I was telling him that I don't want to further my education, that I want to involve myself in business, because my mother was a businesswoman. I said I want to put my head into business. I want to have money, not paper. But today I have paper, I have change with me. Once you have given opportunity, the only thing I will tell the women around the world is that when an opportunity is being given to one should utilize such an opportunity very, very well. It was the one that encouraged me, even at the level of getting appointments. It was the one that prophesied that. He said that one while we were in the college, that you will sit in my own room, somebody will bring you job. And I said, man, you are never Oguindiji. Man, you are not part of this system. You are from another state entirely. And he told me that never mind whether I'm from another state or whatever, forget about that one. There was another sensitive act in that scene. I said, should I change my state of origin then when we got married? He said, no, you have better opportunity in the future where they will be dragging it with you that you are not from this state. Retain your state and retain my name. So with that one, nobody will come up to tell you that you are not part of Ogu. So those were the opportunity he gave to me. He supported me with all. Physical support. He will take me to school. Even till this present time, he will take me to school. If I have lectures for 8 o'clock, I said I have lecture. He will decide to take me to school. He will support me he supported me with all things he has, both spiritual, social, and some other material things.
Another thing that caught my fancy in your CV is that your search for doctorate degree was to look at bias technical capacity building. Can you expatiate on that?
We have so many issues in the area of recognizing women and even recognizing the children that will become the builders of nation. You look around us, you will see some women, although they are not learning, but they have some things upstairs. So if you now involve them in things that they can use their hands to do, what they can use their brains to do, they will come up in flying colors. So when we talk about technical capacity building, you empower the women, you empower the youths. We have them around us. They are just working aimlessly. Lot of dead bodies walking on the streets without having anything to show for it. You see the graduates having nothing to do. You see the undergraduate students, they involved in so many crimes in the society today. But if something occupied their mind, if they have something occupy their mind that they can put their hands on, they won't be moving around without having anywhere to put their heads. What I mean by putting their heads is that when you have something in your mind and you have support for that thing that you have in your mind, you can use your brain, then you use your hand and some other aspect of your life at least to accomplish your potentials. But many of them have potentials, but they don't have backing. So in going to this technical capacity building, you develop their skills, their vocations, and some other things. We have technical colleges around us. We have in Remo, we have in Abeokuta, we have in Ijebu-Ode. But what are they doing there? What are they doing? The government is not helping the issue. It is better for us at least to develop them in a way. We have one at Odeda where they are using agricultural whatever there. So if the government can put effort on all these things, there won't be rooms for these junior ones or the youngsters to be littering the environment or to involve in cybercrime. So that is the reason why I said, well, with the situation on ground, children are suffering. To raise a child from childhood to adulthood is a serious problem in Nigeria of today. To give them sound education, I am not talking about you can carry education. I'm talking about qualitative education. Education that needs to turn you around, at least to be useful for yourself, useful for your immediate family, your community, and the society at large. But if they don't have anything doing, well, if a woman has 3-4 children at home and is struggling to get it done, the man is not having anything to do, or the man is having 50% of whatever to support the home, and the woman has nothing to do. Those children, it will be very difficult for them on the planet of Earth to become somebody that somebody will reckon with in the future. That is the reason why we said, let me go into this aspect of life, technical capacity building, see how we can empower these children. Both the children, we don't call them drop out any longer, we call them out of school children. How can we empower them? How can the government support them in getting their focus and to become one of those people that the society will reckon with in the nearest future? And my dear sister, see Nigeria today, we are in a shallow. Some people have things at hand, but they don't have support. But if they have support, they won't be littering the streets around, and the crime in the society will be meager.
Thank you for giving us the insights, madam.
Thank you.
We've been talking to Dr. Mrs. Oluwafunmilayo Toyin Inyuade. She has been telling us about her passion in the society for her. Education is very, very important. Ma, the other time you were talking, you talked passionately about children, and some category of children that we call dropouts. You said we shouldn't call them dropouts again, that yes, they are out of school children. So is that why you had an institution to take care of children, that is having a school to take care of children and building their future?
Thank you very much. In any given society, a reading society is a leading society. I look around the society with my own background. My late father was not a man of many letters. Standard 6 that they read during those periods. And my mother has never attended any school. When I look around to myself, I said, if those parents of mine could give me such an opportunity in life, why can't we of today, gives out what we know, it will better the life of these children. In the course of my program at University of Ibadan for my PhD program, I met a professor that I will forever be grateful to. Professor M.O. Akitayo, retired now. He was the one that took up my load. I mean my load in the research work. He was my supervisor. There was a day he told me, Madam, what have you done to nurture people? I said, nurture people. How do I come up nurturing people? And he said, what have you nurtured before? I said, I've reared animals before. I've keeping poultry farming. I've keeping piggery farming and some other things. There was a time I was rearing cow. I've done all those things. And he said to me that if you fail to contribute to humanity in another way of nurturing children, your vision is not complete. Then I came back home to tell my husband that my professor said this, and he said that if I don't understand what he has told me, I should bring my husband to Ibadan. Then we went together. And the man now said, I wouldn't know, maybe it was a vision or it was an instinct.
Or a push.
He just told me that, tell her to go and find a way of nurturing children. And that was the way I came into the business of child development in education. So with the trend of things, we have raised children in that forum, both primary level, nursery level, and secondary school level. We have them in US. We have, among my children, or among my pupils or my students, I've gotten an American army among them that we supported. I supported them with all I have. Then we have them in Europe. We have them all over the country. We have them in Canada too. So we have them in UK. We have them all over places. We have them in Germany. We have them in Cyprus. Then we have them in Russia. We have so many of them that read economics, some of them medicine, some of them computer or whatever, ICT and what have you. And they are all doing fine. So if you have all these children around you, when you are doing what you want to do, when you involve in your passion, there won't be any stress.
Now we want to look at the correlation between going into the ministry, to a pastor's wife, and your husband has a church, and you are co-ministering with him. So what is the correlation between having a church, nurturing other people, and having a school and nurturing children? Is there any balance in between them?
There's balances, or there are balances, in the sense that the first part is dealing with human being. The second part too is dealing with human being. And with my own profession, in the classes of ministry, we have the apostles, we have teachers, we have evangelists, we have pastors, then we have the fifth one of the fivefold. There are 5. So when you are talking about the fivefold of the ministry, you can't rule out the teaching aspect of it. So with that ministry and the career, they work pari passu. They have things in common. Since we are dealing with human as a whole, the church is a social agent. The school too is another social agent. So when you bring the two together, you relate with both adults and children in the church. In the school too, you relate with your workers, those that are the adults, and you relate with the children too. In doing all these things, you are trying to match the society together with the spiritual. So you can't rule it out that school cannot live in a vacuum. You have somebody to fill the vacuum. The church cannot live in vacuum. So the two are working hand in hand. You relate with them in the school. You tell them not to do wrong in the school. You come to the church. Church is another place to tell people that this is the way we should go.
The last question on this segment. will be your word of advice to women? In what way do you think women should stand up and take up the society and lead the people aright?
When we talk about the society at large, I said we can never live in a vacuum. Society comprises of the family, and women came out from families where we have the husband and the children. But let me just tell you, what you don't have as a mother, you can't give it out. That is the first problem. What the women in the society today, they don't have, they can't give it to their children. I will just employ the women of today that we should go back to the drawing board. What and what do I want for my life? What do I want for my society? It is when you discover yourself that you can develop a nation. I will just tell the women straight that they should put value on themselves. If you go out today, see ladies, how they comport themselves in the society, they will now become the women in the future. They will become the women in the future. Look at the way they have displayed themselves. Look at the comportments of the ladies in the society today. If you don't discover the value in yourself as a woman, you will miss all, because we are the builder of the nations. We are the builders of the nations. Talk to give a woman to a man. By the time that woman is coming up, it won't be herself alone with the husband. They will come in multitude. Either to have 2 children, 4, 5, even if you have one, before you know it, that one will marry and they will raise children. Then you become a larger family. But if an individual, a woman, does not discover the value in herself, the potentials in herself, we will miss all.
If you have been listening to Dr. Mrs. Inyuade, one thing you should take away from this program is that as a woman, you should develop your inner self. But before we go on the program, Dr. Mrs. Inyuade will be telling us some of our favorites, and that will take us to the second segment of the program. Come along with us. Welcome back. You will be telling us some of the favorites. That is your favorite color, your favorite food, your favorite music, and if you like sports or games, you tell us about that too. Then if you like going to parties, you tell us that too. So we'll start from your favorite food. What do you like eating the most?
What I like eating most is bread and tea. Then when you talk about meats, what I like taking most, I can take my food without meat. But the meat I like most is snail, igbe, then I like stock fish, and like big bear. Those are the things I like to take.
What about your favorite color of attire?
Initially, my children thought I love lemon. But I just discovered that in the last 10 years, I don't even opt out for lemon again. I put anything on. Anything that is good for me, I'll put it on. I don't have any particular color that this is your favorite. In the 90s, early 2000, I love putting on anything with the shade of green that connotes fertility. But these days, I just believe that anything that comes my way, I can just put them on. So far, I'm looking fine. I'm looking good.
Do you like the native or the English wear?
Most of the time, because of my nature, I love putting on simple dress, especially English dresses. But if I go for function, I can put on native. But mostly, because of the nature of my work, I normally put on English dresses. and because of the nature of the church. But if it is function, I'll put
like
on the
parties.
native parties. But I'm not a lover of parties. If I attend party, it means that person is very closer to me, and I'll just go in at the appropriate time. When they call the party 10 o'clock, I'll be there 10 o'clock. And if I plan to leave that place for 2 hours, if I spend my 2 hours, I will leave. Whether they completed their program or not, I will leave. If I plan to spend just 3 hours in a party, and you decided to be elongating it, it is none of my business. That is your own way of life. When it is my 3 hours, I will leave the place. In terms of music, I love to do music. I love Obe.
Can you sing one of his songs for us?
Ohun gbogbo lọkùnrin lè mú mọ́ra, kò lè gbà kán gbéyàwó òun sáyà o. Ohun gbogbo lọkùnrin lè mú mọ́ra, kò lè gbà kán gbé pàdé òun sẹ́sẹ̀ o. I love Obe.
Okay.
Because his music is in proverbial way. Then when we talk about the spiritual music that I fall into, it is this my favorite, Tope Alabi.
What type of game do you love playing, or you've been into one sports program or the other?
While I was in secondary school, I happens to be a track person. I run 100 meters 4x4, and I represented my school. So I like playing Ludo. Let anybody from the upper house, let them come. I will tell them I'm very good in calculation of figures.
We've enjoyed listening and talking to you on the program today. Thank you for coming on the set of Women and the Society.
Thank you very much, ma. You're welcome.
If you place value on yourself, you will make a positive impact. What are you doing in your own capacity to better the society? Think about that. When we meet next week, we will talk about another topical issue in the society. I remain Charity James. We'll see you next episode.